Hey, this is Max once again. Welcome back to another video. There's another paid request, this time from Mr. Majestic. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, commentaries, topics, reaction, review, re-review, out of the blueness, rankings, whatever, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And Mr. Majestic was asking to rank Quentin Tarantino movies. Not just the films he directed, but the films he helped write. So you can include True Romance, From Dusk Till Dawn, Natural Born Killers. I don't know how much Tarantino was involved in Natural Born Killers, but I'll just put it in there just because. Now, I am a Tarantino fan. I have seen... Of this list, the one I don't remember is too much is Four Rooms. Very vaguely. But the rest I have seen. And a lot of his films I like. A lot of his films I like. I sit there and I go, why is it that I like Tarantino? I do think he has a great knack for writing, for the most part. I think he can be very creative in his writing. I do like a lot of his references. I don't even recall references, but his notes they'll take from films of the past. It seems like something, not that I nearly have a talent like Tarantino, not a molecule of talent like Tarantino has. But if I made a movie, I would make a lot of references to films I love. Like if I made a movie, I know I would make a reference to the scene in Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, when Al's is getting ready in the mirror, and I would take that music and use that in a movie. And he would do that, like he'll use the Green Hornet theme, or he'll use music from The Psychic, which is a film he liked, that he wanted to remake at one point. And he used that in Kill Bill, Volume 1. And like you watch Kill Bill and others, and there's certain actors he want to use and certain pieces of music from the past that he uses, and he's definitely a guy who's a wealth of film knowledge. Whether you agree or disagree with his choices, he definitely knows his stuff. And just a lot of his films end up being entertaining, and the characters, it's just fun to listen to them talk. Like old Kevin Smith used to do in his writing. And sometimes I'm surprised at his choices in movies. Like someone the other day told me about the podcast he did with Joe Rogan. And during the podcast, at the on YouTube, if you type Quentin Tarantino Conan, Tarantino's a fan of Conan the Destroyer. He's like, I really like the Conan movie with Grace Jones. I was surprised. I'm like, because that's honestly my favorite Conan movie is The Destroyer. And he's like, that's actually a lot more like the comics. I'm like, huh. I didn't, something like that. I was like, okay, that's cool. That's pretty neat. And it's like finding out, like Roger Ebert gave Leviathan, a personal favorite of mine, a thumbs up. Like, if you don't look up the Siskel and Ebert review of Leviathan, Roger Ebert gave this a thumbs up. Same with, I believe, the Golden Child. Is that okay? That makes sense for Speed 2 did 2 thumbs up. But seriously, I think Tarantino is a talent. I know some people feel he's overrated. I mean, I haven't liked some of his films recently. But his last film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I thought was rather good. So, I know there's been talks of him doing Star Trek. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I really don't. They're not going to make an R-rated Star Trek movie. When the PG-13 Star Trek films that J.J. Abrams directed or produced, they did make the money. So then do you really want to try to risk an R-rated Star Trek that's going to make less money? They're not going to do that. So... I'd love to see Quentin Tarantino do like a slasher film with his writing and creativity. I mean, I guess the closest he kind of did was Death Proof. I mean, in a way. But, I mean, to rank them, number one that he was involved with is easily From Dusk Till Dawn. From Dusk Till Dawn is one of my favorite vampire films, is up there with the original Fright Night. From Dusk Till Dawn, I remember seeing this on DVD and just loved it ever since. I love the casting. George Clooney is still his best role to this day. I wish he would play a role like that again. Sadly, he doesn't, but he was just ultimate fucking badass as Seth Gecko. Everybody be cool. You be cool. And he was a villain, but he was a cool villain. And he had like the slightest of morals. Is this what I want, huh? Do you think this is okay? What you are doing, what you are fucking doing, is not part of the plan. They look like fucking psychos. Fucking psychos don't explode when sunlight hits them. I don't care how fucking crazy they are. That's what I mean by the dialogue. And Tarantino wrote that. Robert Rodriguez directed it. And yeah, that line kills me anytime I see it. And I think George Clooney's still proud of it because I have the German Blu-ray, and on my other channel that I don't post much because I forgot the fucking password for that. It's called Rambo Raff Films. I did, granted, shoot it with a webcam, upload the interview that George Clooney did for the From Dusk Till Dawn Blu-ray. And yeah, he seemed proud of the film, which was cool. And that movie, I mean, you got Tom Savini, you got Fred Williamson, you got vampire chicks with their titties out, you got explosions, you have vampires turn into these rat creatures with the help of TMB effects. Now let's kill that fucking band. Just, I'm thinking of all this random stuff that happens. It's just a lot of fun. The soundtrack, Dark Night. Oh, she's just killing me. Do. I can't even do the... I think I see her. I think I want her. And yeah, like many people said, it's an interesting idea to have this crime movie and then turn to this fucking vampire movie. Of course, I knew going in it was a vampire movie. But I guess there were some people that didn't realize that and thought, whoa, what the fuck? It turned to a vampire film. What the shit? Which I think is cool. Harvey Keitel did a good job. Julianne Moore. Not Julianne Moore. What the fuck? Juliette Lewis. If it was Julianne Moore, it'd be pretty different. Juliette Lewis. The score is rather good. Like, yeah, that's very energetic direction by Robert Rodriguez, who had just done Desperado. Usage of the camera. And just ideas like the shotgun that's across. George Clooney having the fucking... I almost said pile driver. The drill, the jackhammer. The jackhammer. Pretty damn cool stuff. A lot of fun. Just highly entertaining. Selma Hayek, welcome to slavery. Nah, that's okay. I already have a wife. I get a ball anytime watching from Dusk Till Dawn. So that's easily number one. And then number two, my favorite film he directed was Kill Bill Volume 1. I might have seen that in the theater. I think I did, because I think that was 2004, and I was still in an area where a theater was nearby. Because I remember seeing the Dawn of the Dead remake in a theater. Yeah. Yeah, I did see Kill Bill in the theater. Because 2003 and 2004, I saw a lot of movies in the theater. Because I graduated from high school in 2002. And then this was a different part of Texas for a few years. And yeah, it was near a movie theater, so I would go there quite a bit. And it was a great experience in the theater. And just... especially when you get the finale with just crazy action. And let's say with Kill Bill Volume 1, it's the way Tarantino shot himself in the foot because he put all the action pretty much in the first movie. And then the second film, I think people expected that again. And it wasn't the case. It's like all the actions in the first one and a lot of stories in the second film. And I think, even though I do like the second film quite a bit, I don't know why in the U.S. they haven't released the whole bloody affair, which is both of them combined. At least I don't think they released it in the U.S. Yeah, I'm surprised. But yeah, Kill Bill Volume 1, I mean, I thought Uma Thurman did a good job. I love, like, taking an old school kung fu and put it in a modern setting. And again, Tarantino has those references. You got the Bruce Lee Game of Death outfit that Uma Thurman wears. You got the music from other movies and Sergio Leone films interspersed in there. I forget what was the TV show that had that bow 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 dun, 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 dun. I know this from a previous thing. I forgot what it was. I think it was a TV show. I could be wrong though. And the action scenes are well done, well choreographed, well handled. The soundtrack is pretty damn good. The Sonny Chiba, may he rest in peace. He makes a fun appearance where Uma Thurman gets his sword, Hanzo's sword. Lucy Liu, she was rather good. It's one of her better roles. Cuts the guy's head off because makes fun of her mixed ethnicity. If anybody else has any fucking to say, now's the fucking time. And like beautiful photography at the end, where her and Lucy Liu are in this location where it looks like it's snowing, and like that to me really best showcased Tarantino's handling of the camera. At times very funny writing. His giving his ode to the past, but still making it his own beast. It was just exciting. It was fun. Even like, in the middle of the movie, you have an anime sequence that show the backstory of Lucy Liu's character. So playing around with the mo the motifs of a movie, that you have a live action film, and in the middle you have this anime flashback. It's like, why not? What if movies there are no rules, then you can break them. Or nah, that doesn't make sense. If you have rules, why not break them? Or if there's no rules, then you can do anything you want. But yeah, I always liked Kill Bill Volume 1. Pulp Fiction I enjoy. That's number 3. I think the characters are very interesting. By John Travolta getting his comeback after being in films like Perfect, among others. He worked very well with Sam Jackson. Of course, Sam Jackson giving his Ezekiel speech, part of movie history. Bruce Willis, he did a good job. And it's a lot of fun stories that all work well. And that's a movie that doesn't have a linear timeline, but it actually works because it's not confusing, and I kind of get why Tarantino did it that way. Because, for example, you get the surprise of, oh shit, John Travolta gets killed? Not expecting that. But then if you like the character and you feel bad, he shows up at the end, because it's a different time span, and him and Sam have an interesting conversation, and it seems like Sam's going to get out of the game. I remember when I first saw this, I think I saw the first 2/3 of the film, but the tape cut out the third act. So that whole ending with, I think it stopped when Harvey Keitel is in the movie. I think his line is, so you got a dead guy whose head's blown up in a car. And then the tape cut off. So I never saw the rest of that. But I think that was back to the day where, it wasn't really ideal money wise to. I'm trying to figure out like how I got that tape. Tapes were kind of expensive back then. But I would still watch the first two-thirds of the film because I thought it was rather. It wasn't until years later I found out how the fuck the movie ended. I mean, oh, okay, there you go. So I have a lot more memories of the first two-thirds of the film than I do of the third act. I would say probably my favorite bit of the movie is the Bruce Willis stuff, where when he gave a shit, this guy who's ready to kill Ving Rhames, but he's like, no, I'm going to do the honorable thing, and him pick up the different weapons, and finally settling on the sword. Getting the gimp, uh, taking care of business, so to speak. And yeah, it has a good cast, great soundtrack, witty writing. I mean, even the whole thing with Uma Thurman explaining about pilots and what they detail. And even people that you don't realize, like, when they're in the restaurant, and I think, like, one guy's like Buddy Holly, I think that's Steve Buscemi. But Pulp Fiction is a lot of fun. Then Kill Bill Volume 2, again, sadly doesn't have as much action as the first film. Again, I think they kind of spoiled people with the first with so much action, and then now it's simmered down on the story. I still like the film, but just not as much as the first. Nice that David Carradine is in it. I thought he did a good job as Bill. It's one of his best roles, in my opinion. I love the Superman story analogy he says at the end to explain Uma Thurman's character. Michael Madsen I liked, but I thought the way his character got taken out, I thought was kind of meh. Because I was wanting the bride to take revenge on him because he's the one who buried the bride. And then the fact that Michael Madsen gets killed by the venom of, was it Daryl Hannah? Man, it's been a while since I've seen that. I do like the flashback sequences with her under her sensei. Well, not that under, but you know what I mean. Because that definitely flashes back to the old kung fu type of movies. I know Michael Jai White was in a part, but it was cut out. But I think if you find the whole bloody affair, that's put back in, I believe. Which I'm sure Michael Jai White loved that. He was in a Tarantino film and he got cut out. I'm trying to think. But I do like the bit with her escaping from the grave. Very over the top, but these movies are not meant to be realistic. And the piece of music I really enjoy, I believe that's from a Sergio Leone film, I believe. When she escapes from being buried. Love that piece of music. With Kill, I think when I first saw it, I thought there'd be this big battle with Bill, and it wasn't. I guess, and I warmed up to it because it does make more sense because it's more personal. Like we've had these big action martial arts scenes. With Bill, it would be something a bit more personal. And the fact that she did the move that even he wasn't taught kind of says it all. I know Tarantino thought of doing a third film where the little girl whose mom she killed in the first movie would come back for revenge. We don't need that. That's not needed. You don't need a third film. And I don't think it's going to be made. Especially between... The stuff between him and Uma Thurman seems a bit friction now. So... It's for the better to not have a Kill Bill 3. Just release the whole bloody affair in the U.S. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that would be number five. Really, although the film's a bit too long, it is pretty long. I got into the story. I like this idea of this fairy tale aspect mixed in with the old time Hollywood. And while I don't really agree with the portrayal of Bruce Lee in the film, I'm sorry, I just don't. I don't think that was needed, at least in that way. I do think Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt did a really nice job. It was nice to have people like Kurt Russell in there. The ending I thought was genius, honestly. Again, if there's no rules, you can do anything you want. If this is a once upon a time fairy tale, change fate. Charlie Manson's group, they didn't kill. Instead, they went to the wrong house, and Brad Pitt beat the ever-loving fuck out of them. I wish it would go more further and have Charlie Manson himself there. And then I would have Leo DiCaprio burn Charlie Manson, and that's the guy he burned with the flamethrower. So I would have gone a little bit further, where because of Brad Pitt, what he was doing with the cult earlier, because kind of these tears injected into there and changing fate, it would lead to maybe there's a point where things change and they're like, oh, call Charlie down here. And then like, whoa, what the fuck? And then Charlie Manson has more of his minions, his cult members there, and Brad Pitt and Leo kill even more of them. So I would have gone even further, but I liked the direction they went at. I thought that was rather refreshing, original, and kind of ballsy. And satisfying, just outright satisfying. Again, it just there are moments that it gets a bit too stretching of the time. But there are moments that are kind of fun, like the two of them, Brad Pitt, DiCaprio, doing a commentary, watching like a portion of one of the episodes that DiCaprio's character did as a guest star, and you see like the TV, and they're behind the camera, and you just hear them commenting. Again, made it seem a bit different, a bit unique compared to a lot of movies. So I quite liked that movie. Let's see. True Romance would be next, and I remember not minding that film, in particular because of the cast and Tony Scott's direction. May he rest in peace. Because you had Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, Dennis Hopper. I think Val Kilmer was in it, I believe. I know Gary Oldman's in it, Brad Pitt's in it, Christopher Walken's in it. I think Sam Jackson is in it. Bronson Pinchot is in it. But you have quite a crazy cast in that. And the scene with Dennis Hopper and Christopher Walken talking with each other, and Brad Pitt, which his character, for what I understand, was the influence for Pineapple Express movie getting made, and the James Franco character, which I thought was pretty cool. I like Christian Slater. Yeah, I remember that cast being very, very well cast in their roles, where they didn't seem like it was a miscasting on any front. And yeah, that Tarantino influence. I believe they're watching a Sonny Chiba movie. Might be The Street Fighter at a movie theater. And like there's some other little tips here and there. I know Tarantino is a fan because I believe he did a commentary on the DVD, and he said he actually liked what Tony Scott did. Because I remember him being a fan, because I think Tarantino has said he's a Tony Scott fan. Like, he liked Beverly Hills Cop 2, and he really liked Days of Thunder, which he did was surprising. He's like, yeah, I know you guys will laugh, but I think Days of Thunder really captures, the racing, the feel to it, which I agree. I think if you type Tarantino Days of Thunder on Google, you'll find it. I think people were asking like, what's his favorite racing movies, and I like Days of Thunder as well. So I'm not going in depth on these because some of these films I've already reviewed. So for those, I don't think I've reviewed all of them, but some of them I have. So, and this is more of a ranking. 1, From Dusk Till Dawn. 2, Kill Bill Volume 1. 3, Pulp Fiction. 4, Kill Bill Volume 2. 5, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. 6, True Romance. 7 is Jackie Brown. 8 is Reservoir Dogs. I guess if I would say 9 is Death Proof. I guess 10, I guess I would put Natural Born Killers. Which, that feels more like Oliver Stone than Tarantino, but I know Tarantino had a hand in it somewhat. I would say that's the top 10 of no. Jackie Brown, I like the writing. Robert Forster, I missed. I think he did a great job. I thought Pam Grier did a great job. Again, it's not the most exciting film. Uh, it's not. I don't think it has that eclectic energy like Pulp Fiction did. But I still think the dialogue's fun to listen to. It still has a good cast. You have Robert De Niro. You have Michael Keaton. Sam Jackson. Reservoir Dogs, I do like. It's just not a Tarantino film I rewatch much. I think the dialogue is well done. Harvey Keitel and the group do their jobs well. Again, it's just not a film I rewatch a lot. I don't know. I don't really have much reasons for it. I don't mind the film. It just, again, just how it is. Death Proof I like, but I thought Planet Terror Rodriguez's film was a better movie. Death Proof is, I like Caruso. It has some really good car chases. It's one of those things, it did this risk that kind of paid off and kind of didn't, where the first half of the film is this big, slow build-up of these characters, and it's a risk where you build up these characters and it's been built up so long you just assume they're the leads, and then when they all die you're like, oh shit, and now we're in our actual leads, including, I forget her name, she's an actual stunt woman. I think Rosario Dawson is one of them, I believe. I hated the one lady that's like, I'm gonna tap that ass, I'm gonna tap that. I hated her character. I wish her character had died off. It was refreshing, like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming when I saw it, because I saw Grindhouse in the theater, and it was a great experience. Saw that in 2007 in the theater. I'm like, wow, it's 2 movies for the price of 1, and there's going to be fake trailers. Wonderful experience. Apparently I'm one of the only people that did see that in the theater. Like, if you talk about the Grindhouse experience, it'd be in the top 5. But the whole Grindhouse experience with the fake trailers, with Tarantino involved, it'd be top 5. I would have From Dusk Till Dawn, Kill Bill Volume 1, Pulp Fiction, and then probably Grindhouse, and then Kill Bill Volume 2. But if we're talking about Death Proof, it's an interesting idea, kind of like a slasher film, but Kurt Russell's using his car, and uses his car and the way he's ridden it. He smashes into people, or he gets people in there and flips, and he's a stuntman. That's a very interesting idea. I think Caruso did a really good job. It's just when you rewatch it and you know the twist, you kind of just, that's the risk that when you first watch it, I think it kind of paid off. But if you watch it again, you're like, okay, I already know. Should I just fast forward through it? Because you already know where this is leading to, and the characters are not really that interesting other than Kurt Russell. And you just wait for the other foot to drop, so to speak. So Death Proof is a film that I don't think has a lot of rewatchability. But like I say, I think Kurt Russell did a good job. And it's an interesting idea, just not a lot of rewatchability factor to it. And Natural Born Killers, I don't mind the film, but again, just its subject matter, and it's just not something I rewatch a lot. It's definitely a Oliver Stone looking feel to the movie. Woody Harrelson did a good job, as did Juliette Lewis. interesting cameo by Rodney Dangerfield. But overall, it just something about, I can't put my finger on it. But in a way, that's its point. So you can't really blame the movie for it because it's its point to kind of make you feel that, to make you feel that way. Not even kind of. So it's just not a movie. It's fun to rewatch for me. But yeah, I think that's part of the point. I mean, it's called Natural Born Killers. It's not called Fun Day Sunday and the Monday. You know. And then the last four, Django Unchained, Four Rooms, Inglourious Basterds, and The Hateful Eight. Django Unchained, there's elements I like with Jamie Foxx and shooting the shit out of people, and you get like the biggest blood squibs, like explosion blood squibs. I thought Jamie Foxx did a good job. I like that stuff. I thought DiCaprio did a good job as a southern sort of racist guy. You're the villain. I like that the end of the film has music from They Call Me Trinity, which I'm a fan of that film, with Terrence Hill and Bud Spencer. Do 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 do. Like, I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. Okay, Tarantino, you got a warmth in my heart because of that. I do think that's a film that does not need to be that long of a movie. I think that's a movie that was kind of smelling his own farts, which a lot of his newer films, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I could deal with. I had fun with. But Inglourious Basterds and The Hateful Eight, that's their worst offense. Is Tarantino now he's loving the smell of his own farts, and he needs an editor. He needs to pare the films down. Django Unchained, though, at least there's bits of the story, the characters, the superficial stuff like the music, the bloody squibs, that I did enjoy. Four Rooms, I barely remember. I remember not hating the film, but I don't remember much about it, so I just put it... Because the two I really dislike is Inglourious Basterds and The Hateful Eight. I know people disagree with that. That's fine. Inglourious Basterds, people to this day fucking love the like 30-minute opening with Christoph Waltz. I am the total opposite. I think that's some of the most boring fucking shit ever. I think Christoph Waltz is a bit overrated. His character in that is overrated. I thought, okay, I know what's going on. He's acting nice, but he wants some... This shit's going to turn, and I'm waiting for it to happen, 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 and it's 30 fucking minutes, I swear. Maybe it's not, but it felt like that. And there's barely any Inglourious Basterds in the Inglourious Basterds movie. What is that with Brad Pitt? I really like Brad Pitt's performance. I thought Brad Pitt did a great job. I wish he was more of the focus of the movie. If more of the focus was Brad Pitt and these Inglourious Basterds going from A to B to C, killing Nazis, even with Eli Roth as part of the group, I would enjoy the film more. But there's these sections that just overzealous and overabundance of just stretching it out to a point it breaks and it's anorexic Ally McBeal thin. Like, come on now. What the fuck? The ending's interesting. I did Changing History, where they kill Hitler, and Hitler gets the shit killed out of him. Interesting idea, but just... Those first 30 minutes killed it for me, and then... Oh, when Brad Pitt's on screen, that was fun, but then it's just... I'm not a fan of... And The Hateful Eight, I hated. I did not like any characters in the film, which I guess made sense because the title. You're not supposed to like the characters. But even Reservoir Dogs, you had a cop who was undercover, so maybe there's a semblance of someone you can like. Here, whether it be Kurt Russell, whether it be Sam Jackson, whether it be this, as trying to be like this people stuck in a place while there's a storm going out. I know Tarantino used like the original version of the score for John Carpenter's The Thing. I don't care. I didn't care for where the story went. I didn't care for the direction of the characters, where that went. That's one of those films that I did not give an iota of shit about the story. I'm like, you know what, Tarantino, you did your Western with Django Unchained. I would rather watch that than this. I was so bored. It's like 3 hours long. It went at a glacial pace. The dialogue didn't interest me. The characters didn't interest me. And the story I did not give a rat's ass about. If it's some good looking cinematography, sure. I just did not care. And I thought the ending was rather lame. Like all this build up, this 3 hours for this. Like that's the summarization. That's how it's summarized. That's the finale. That's where it led up to. Fucking really? Just not for me. Not for me at all. I honestly think Kurt Russell was wasted in the movie. I really do. Like he gets Kurt Russell in these movies. Why not have Kurt Russell as the lead of a movie? Like a lead good guy. Like okay, you have him as a bad guy in Death Proof. He did a good job. He has a small part in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He has the part in Hateful Eight. How about the lead as a good guy? How about this, Tarantino? If John Carpenter doesn't do it, you make Escape from Earth with State Plissken. There you go. You make this. You and Robert Rodriguez team up. You write. Rodriguez directs Escape from Earth with Kurt Russell. One more glorious time with State Plissken. He's older in his age. The Earth is ready to go kaput after the shit that happened in Escape from L.A. We got Escape from Earth, and he does it, and it just. Or, make a creature film in the vein of John Carpenter's The Thing. Not a sequel, but in vein. Or something, man. Honestly, that's why I would like... I mentioned a slasher, but really, the Tarantino film I would like to see is a creature feature movie. But I don't think Tarantino's interested in that, but... So yeah, to me, the worst ones are The Hateful Eight and Glorious Bastards. Those are the ones I hate the most. The ones I like the most... From Dusk Till Dawn, Kill Bill Volume 2, Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill... no. From Dusk Till Dawn, Kill Bill Volume 1, Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill Volume 2, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Those are my top 5. And after that, True Romance, Jackie Brown, Reservoir Dogs, and Death Proof. Death Proof might be above Reservoir Dogs. That might switch, I don't know. But anyway. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.